Hello, welcome to your academy. At your academy, today we will deal with a poem by John Donne titled as The Good Morrow. We have dealt with quite a number of poems of John Donne at your academy. We have done with the canonization. We have studied the poem of Valediction Forbidding Morning. And in this lecture, we have also dealt with the poem titled Relic, which is relatively a very long poem. We have also dealt with the critical analysis of various poems of John Donne. To watch the lecture on the canonization, you can check out this link. To watch the critical analysis of the canonization, you can check out this link. To watch a Valediction Forbidding Morning, you can check out this link. To watch the critical analysis of a Valediction Forbidding Morning, you can check out this link. And to watch the Relic, you can check out this link. And if you want to watch other lectures on various topics of English literature, you can visit your academy's page on YouTube and browse through the playlist Our Man page, where you will find numerous lectures on English literature. In this lecture, we will not deal with John Donne. To know about John Donne, you can check out this link that has popped up at the top of this video. So most of important lectures, they keep on popping up at the top of the video, and you can check them, go through them to watch the lecture in detail. This lecture will be dedicated to the Good Morrow. Now, just to get the context, again, what we do, we try to establish at the very beginning the context of the work that we are dealing with. Because if we know the context, understanding the text becomes very easy. So this poem, as most of the poems are of John Donne, were published after his death. So is the case with the poem The Good Morrow. It was also published in Songs and Sonnets after the death of John Donne. Now, the collection of poetry called as Songs and Sonnets by John Donne has got the love poems as well as religious poems. Now, when it comes to the love poems, you must have read the poems like the Song by John Donne. You have, if you know about the canonization, about a Valediction Forbidding Morning, about the Relic, about the Ecstasy, or rather the poem Ecstasy we have dealt with that. We have not dealt with the poem Relic, but with Ecstasy, and you can check out that link that has popped up here. So there are a lot of poems by John Donne which are love poems in nature. For example, The Sun Rising is another important poem which is love poem. So if we try to establish John Donne as a love poet, we can get a lot of examples from his collections of poetry where John Donne is at his best when he is talking about love. But then there is another aspect of John Donne. John Donne has got different personality. If you go through the life of John Donne, you will find a different John Donne when he is young and a different John Donne when he is old. John Donne as a young can run away, elope with the daughter of his own guardian for that matter, and ends up being in jail for eloping or kidnapping or marrying Anne Donne. And he beautifully remarks in one of his letters when he was put in jail for running away with the daughter of his guardian, John Donne, Anne Donne, undone, is a very famous line by him. But as he matures, he becomes a person who would deliver sermons on the Bible. And his holy sonnets present to us a very different kind of John Donne. But then The Sun Rising brings to us a very different kind of John Donne. So does the Relic, so does the Ecstasy, so does a Valediction Forbidding Morning, so does an elegy to his picture, and an elegy to his mistress going to bed. A number of poems, you can song for that matter, which are exclusively love poems. And this poem with which we would be dealing today, The Good Morrow, is also a love poem. John Donne is also a metaphysical poet. So metaphysical aspects would also be there in his poems. And when he talk about John Donne as a love poet, there are two aspects of his love. One would be the physical love and the other would be the platonic love. Now, these two things are also to be kept in mind when we are dealing with John Donne. He would begin with the physical love and he would accomplish it with the platonic love. That is a very common trend or flow of John Donne's poetry. Whatever you take up, there could be one or two poems where he deals exclusively with love, physical love, but most of his poems, they would take off as love, which focuses upon physical love but eventually converts into platonic love. Now, John Donne has got other important aspects also. He is a witty poet, he is a rebellious poet, surely he is a metaphysical poet, and he is a poet who tries to show off his knowledge. And remember, John Donne wrote such kind of poetry which he was himself, fearful of, leaking his poems in public. If you know about John Donne, he would even not allow his friends to circulate his poems. He would circulate his poems, amongst a very, a close group of his, because he was very afraid of his reputation. Maybe that will get foiled if people read the poems of John Donne. And it was only in 19th century, 18th century, when these romantics came up, that John Donne became famous. And in the present day and age, hardly is there a university which does not prescribe a poem by John Donne. So this poem would be a love poem. It will have all the characteristics of John Donne, his hyperbolic presentation, his metaphysical conceits, his ecstatic explanation of the physical love, and then culmination of it into the platonic love. These would be the aspects of this poem. That is the context of this poem. This poem is also, at times called as sonnet, but it's not a sonnet. It's not, written in the traditional sonnet form, consisting of those 14 lines and, divided into whatever way a poet wishes. There are two kinds of sonnet. One is divided into 8 lines and 6 lines, and the other is divided into 3 quatrains with a concluding couplet. But no such things happen with The Good Morrow. It's a 21 verse poem divided into 3 stanzas. Now, since, as I said earlier, that John Donne towards the later half of his life became a clergyman, became a person, who was related to the cathedral. He would deliver sermons. So his poetry has also got many biblical references. And in this poem also we will have the biblical references, which we would be explaining as we explain the poem Good Morrow. So, as we begin dealing with the poem Good Morrow, let's take up the text first before we read the poem or analyze the poem line by line. I wonder by my truth what thou and I did till we loved. Were we not weaned till then, but sucked on the country pleasures childishly? Or snorted we in the 7 sleepers' den? It was but this all pleasures fancies be. If ever any beauty I did see, which I desired and got, it was but a dream of thee. And now, good morrow to our waking souls, which watch not one another out of fear, for love, all love of other sights controls and makes one little room and everywhere. Let sea discoverers to new worlds have gone. Let maps to other worlds and worlds have shone. Let us possess one world, each hath one and is one. My face in thine eye, thine in mine appears, and true plain hearts do in the faces rest. Where can we find 2 better hemispheres without sharp north, without declining west? Whatever dies was not mixed equally. If our 2 loves be one, are thou and I love so alike, and none do slacken, none can die. That was the text of the poem The Good Morrow. That is all in this particular section. We usually divide the lectures in 2 or 3 parts, considering the fact that a long lecture is not liked by. So to watch the next part of the poem, you can click on this video that has appeared on your screen, and to subscribe your academy, you can click here.